I waited to the last minute, the day of. Come sew a circle skirt with me using this old sheet that I found in my fabric stash. Welcome to my channel, Unbiased LLC. If this is your first time watching, welcome. If you are a returning subscriber, welcome back. And if you are part of the Purple Patch crew, welcome in, baby. I appreciate you all for being here. So let's get started. I'm going to first lay my sheet out and fold it in half onto itself using the non-stretchy side of this fabric. And then once I fold it in half, I'm going to fold it in half again. So I'm going to show you right here that once you fold it over, you should have 4 layers of fabric. After that, you want to make sure that your fabric is laying flat with the 4 layers. And then we're going to start measuring it. I did mess up with my measurements, but I'm just going to tell you what you probably need to do is measure your body measurement, your waist and your hips, and then take your radius from there, okay? So I'm just marking out my fabric with the 3.5 inches, and I did end up cutting it down again to 5 inches from this line. And then I measured 16 inches down from my waist because I wanted this skirt to be above my knees. But you measure yours, the size that you needed or the length that you would prefer your skirt to be, okay? And if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing, liking, comment, and hitting the bell for notifications so you know every time I go live or post a video. So once you figure out what length you want your skirt to be, you're going to measure it, and then you're going to draw a line in a half circle form, just like I'm doing here. So I decided that I wanted a waistband attached to the top of my skirt. So this is what I'm going to be marking out next. I took 3.5 inches from the top to the bottom, and I just marked it across the fabric, the length of this fabric. And you will see here, once I finish marking everything out, I'm just going to draw a straight line, or somewhat of a straight line, because I didn't use a ruler. I just eyeballed this. I'm going to draw a straight line, and then we're going to get ready to cut everything out. And if you have made a circle skirt before, drop it in the comments and let me know how did it work for you. And if you did it this way, because there's many ways to do different things. This is just the method that I'm choosing. And I don't think that I mentioned this fabric is kind of like a silk / rayon. So it was really hard to mark on. It was also shifting on me. So right here, I'm going to pin it down before I actually start cutting it, just so that the fabric doesn't move underneath. I don't really like to use pins, but here we go. So once I got everything pinned down, it's time to cut. And all you're going to do is follow the lines that you drew on your fabric and cut it out. And if I did not mention before where I just cut that little circle at the top, that's going to be on your fold. So the fabric to my right or to your right is on the fold. The fabric on the left where I am is the open section of your fabric, just in case somebody didn't know which side of the fabric I was cutting on. So now I have everything cut out in just a second, and I'm just going to lay it out and show you guys what it's supposed to look like, or my vision for this skirt, okay? So this is me laying it out and showing you this is the band that I'm going to put on top of the skirt, and this is what the skirt is going to look like. So I'm going to pull it up and shimmy it for you, baby. Yes, it's short. Don't worry about it. Okay, this is what I wanted. And like I said before, I did cut my top of my skirt too short, too small. So I did go back and adjust it before I actually took it to the sewing machine. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure my waist, which I should have did that before. Anywho, that's the beauty of sewing. If you mess up something, you can always go back and adjust it, hopefully, okay? But you should measure your waist before you actually start. But if you've been here for a while, you know that I do a lot of things backwards, okay? So I'm measuring the waistband, and I'm going to take the measurement of my waist and just make sure that I have enough fabric to make the waistband. So don't forget to measure. Don't do what I did. Okay? So once you have it all measured out, then you just cut the remaining excess fabric off. Okay? And I kind of like eyeballed it. Don't tell nobody. Okay? Once I measured it out. Okay. Can you keep a secret? Let your girl know in the comments, because I just eyeballed it. And in the rest of this video, you'll see, don't eyeball it. Do it right. Okay? Okay. So I'm just going to take this strip, my waistband strip, to the iron and iron it down. And I folded it onto itself so that I can create a center crease. So now we are here at the sewing machine. It's time to get this thing started. Okay? You can actually make this skirt, I would say, within 2 hours. Give yourself 2 hours to make this skirt. It actually took me 1 hour and 43 minutes to make this skirt, right? And I forgot to show you guys that I added pockets. So if you would like to see a video of me adding pockets to a skirt, drop it in the comments and I'll make that video next. Okay, so right here I am sewing down the pockets. I wanted to make sure that I had a top stitch on top of my pockets so that they would lay down flat. And just in case you're new to sewing garments, I am using a regular straight stitch. My stitch length is 3.5 millimeters and my tension is set at 3.5. So those are the settings that I use, but each machine is different. So please do your research, test things out and see if those settings will work for you. So I'm just continuing to sew down my pockets towards the inside of my skirt. And I did this for both sides. So you're going to have 4 of these to do. 2 on one side and 2 on the other side. And so now it is time for me to continue. But guess what? Your girl ran out of bobbin. Okay. I had to change my bobbin mid-project. Do you always make another bobbin before you start sewing for your projects? Let me know in the comments. So this fabric, you guys, was so hard to tell the front from the back. I should have marked it, and normally I do, but I was in a rush. I was trying to get to the party. Okay. And 9 times out of 10, when you're rushing, you make mistakes and you forget to do things in the proper order. So that's what's happening here. So right now I'm just pinning down the pockets towards the inside of my skirt. And then I'm going to actually sew the skirt, sew the pockets to the skirt. So you will see in the next clip how I do that. And I'll just say the main thing you need to look for when sewing your pockets into any garment is just make sure that you're lined up, because that is going to determine how your pockets will look and how they will lay. I did a simple trace my hand pocket. I didn't have a pattern. I drew my own pattern for this pocket, okay? And most pocket patterns you can use for just about any garment. And as you can see right here, I had to keep adjusting this fabric because it kept moving underneath the sewing machine. So don't be afraid to readjust your project as you sew, okay? Now it's time to add my waistband to the skirt. So the first thing I need to do is I need to sew these two ends together. But if you got to this part of the video, let your girl know in the comments what I did wrong. Keep watching and you'll see. Yep, I messed up. And it's okay. I just cut off this edge and I opened this up. So what I was supposed to do was have this open flat and then match up the seams, the edges, right sides together. And again, this fabric was so hard to read. I just have to keep looking at it. So once I get it right, I'm going to match it up, right sides together, edge to edge, and then I'm going to sew the waistband. So if you answered that question correctly, kudos to you, boo-boo. Okay? I'm glad I caught the mistake before I actually got really off into the project. This fabric also shedded like crazy. Okay, so you're going to see me use my pinking shears a lot in this project just so the edges won't fray after I sew things together and make my seams. Okay? So after I finally got the waistband sewn correctly, I notched it on 4 different sides. So you put the seams together, you notch it, the top and the bottom, and then you open it up, match those notches in the middle, and then notch the other sides, top and bottom. This will help you to align it to your skirt once you get to that section. Do y'all see how I keep looking at this fabric? I'm telling you, it gave me the blues because I could not figure out what was the right side and the wrong side. So I just suggest if you are new to this, please mark your fabric front and back. I finally got it all figured out. So now we're going to sew down the pockets. And what you're going to do is have your fabric right sides together. You're going to align your pocket pieces, the front and the back, and then you're going to pin it in place. And then we're going to sew around it. I'm going to zoom in for this part so that you guys can see exactly what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. Okay? Be patient. I'm coming. So, right here is the top of the pocket. So what you're going to do is you're going to align your presser foot and your needle inside of the seam of the pocket. Then you're going to turn your pocket around and you're going to follow the edge of your presser foot if that's the seam allowance you left for your pocket. I left about 1/4 of an inch seam allowance on my pockets. And so I'm just going to continue to sew around the circle, lifting my presser foot as I go around the circle. But just watch and you will see exactly what I'm doing. And once you get to the finish of the pocket, this part is crucial. You need to sew over the pocket in the seam and backstitch a couple of times. So I'm going to demonstrate that right here. And once you backstitch, you line your fabric back up with the edge of your presser foot or whatever seam allowance you left for your project, and then you just continue to sew. So your seam allowance, the edge of your presser foot, is very important when it comes to making or installing pockets into any garment. Okay, girl and guys, now it's time to put the waistband onto the skirt. So make sure that your skirt or whatever project you're working on, the right side of the fabric is on the outside where you can see it. This is very crucial when it comes to putting on the waistband of any garment. Then you're going to match up those notches right side to right side. Make sure that you have it unfolded, correctly. So match up your notches and then pin everything together, and then we're going to sew everything down. But before I do, keep watching because your girl trying to show you something, okay? Yep, I'm taking all the pins out. And nope, this is not in reverse. This is actually me taking the pins out. Why? Because, of course, I messed it up. Look how big of a gap that is. My waistband does not match the width of my skirt. So what I have to do, take out my handy dandy tape measure and remeasure the width of my skirt so that I can get the same width on my waistband. Therefore, it will match. Okay? Don't be in a rush. But I was. Okay? So now it's time to finally sew the waistband down on the skirt. So after you lined it up and notched it with the notches and you had it right side together, now you're going to flip your waistband to the inside of your skirt and then sew it down onto the same seam, if you can, that you've already created with the first stitch. Just make sure when you're doing the waistband that you don't have those crinkles underneath your needle as you sew. And so right here, you see me just keep readjusting it until I get it right. And you can also like pull on both of your fabrics to try to get it to lay down. And you'll see me demonstrating that in just 1 second. And once you see it flat, then continue to sew. One thing you don't want is a twisted waistband. So take your time with this. It's not a race. So my waistband is attached to my skirt. And now I'm just checking it to make sure that I caught both sides of the fabric. So here comes the fun part. Yeah, right. Hemming the skirt. So you want to have your skirt turned inside out. So you're looking at the ugly side of your fabric, and then you want to fold over about 0.5 and fold over 0.5 again, creating like a tube, I'm sorry. So like a rolled hem. If you have a rolled hem foot, use it in this section. Your girl got a serger. And I'm like, as I was sewing this, I'm like, girl, why you didn't use the serger? Because in my mind, I'm trying to hurry up and get this done so that I can get to the party. But I should have serged those edges, and then flipped it up and then sewn it down to create my hem. But no, what did I do? I did it the long way. Yeah, go figure. Like, comment, share, and subscribe for more tutorials just like this one. Yep, I'm still rolling over the hem and sewing it down. And I realized in my head, I'm like, this is going to take forever. Like forever. So I'm checking to see how much more of this do I have left in me. But after you hem it, the skirt is pretty much done. And then you can reveal to the world what you made. And here is mine. So let me know in the comments, what do you think of this skirt? And I put my hand in my pocket just so you can see. Your girl got pockets. Thank you for watching, and have a blessed day.